When I grow old, will be a day I haven't run, will be a song I haven't sung. When I get old.
Welcome back to the second episode of Sanity for Sound podcast. I'm Terry Ben, music producer and composer, and I'm here at Switzerville Sound Retreat along with another great friend and artist I've worked with, JF Beaulieu. Is that how you pronounce it?
Beaulieu.
Beaulieu. Okay. Sorry.
It's hard for people
is.
with the English. It's a vowel. It's a sound that doesn't really go with the English
I toured in Quebec
language.
a lot, and I was the worst guy. I was really trying to get some French going, and they were just, my French buddies were just like, stop it. So you played in the band Coldrift, and that's
Yep.
how I met you.
Yep.
Rock band from Cornwall, Ontario, and then you went on to do some of your own solo stuff.
Yep.
Just going by your name for that project. Thanks for making the drive out, by the way.
Yeah, anytime,
It's
man.
super awesome. You got your family with you, which is great.
Yeah.
Today's episode is called Against All Odds, and I thought of you because when we were working on the Coldrift record, like, you were just balancing so many things at that time. Like, you're a welder
Yeah.
by trade. You're working how many hours a day?
Yeah. I'm a plumber, fitter, and
Okay,
welder.
fitter, yeah,
I
yeah.
do all three, but so I've been in the trade for 15 years.
Yeah, so you were doing these like huge cruncher days, and then
Yep.
I also remember because you had an investor in the album that you know they typically, we want to get the album done by this time and this time, so you had this deadline to write the 10 songs, and I remember the first
Yeah.
time talking to you, I could just feel that kind of pressure.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
sitting on you.
I think that's been my life in a whole. I'm not comfortable unless I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I always take on more than I should.
Yeah.
Like everybody else, kind of, you know.
Oh, and
it's,
I
it's
think-
one of those things that's pretty natural to just you see an opportunity, you get excited, you go for it. You don't realize you have 6 other opportunities that you're working on.
Well, that's it. And I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with juggling all the things sometimes people juggle to, and then trying to squeeze the art out at the same time.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of an advantage over others. I was insomniac for almost 10, 12 years.
That I did not know about you.
Yeah. I slept maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Sometimes I had 2 of those periods a day. It wasn't healthy by any means, and my body's telling me now that it was probably the wrong thing to do, but I tried sleeping pills and other things. It just didn't really help out. So I said, well, I'm up. Instead of watching movie after movie after movie,
Yeah.
you try to spend your time as best as possible. And there were definitely some clenchers in my life, some moments that pushed me. I mean, music didn't. I always played guitar since the age of 7. I didn't do anything with music till I was 29.
So you played the guitar early, because this was something, we were going to touch on. You played the guitar early, but you didn't actually. So you have played guitar since you were a kid. But
Yeah,
you
so
just
my dad
you didn't get into a
had,
band.
my dad, my uncles, we were a huge family. My dad was the youngest of 18. So when we got together for Christmas, it was the big affair, fiddles, the whole 9 yards. So guitar was always around. There was always a guitar in the house. At the age of 7, my dad got me the Eldegas. Got my brother a drum kit, and we always played together in the house. Beach Boys, stuff
That's
like
so
that.
cool, man.
But yeah, I wasn't in a band. I wasn't comfortable showing anybody that I could play or anything like that. I was super shy, super reserved.
Which is crazy because, the song we heard in the intro, which is one of your solo songs I picked.
Okay.
When I Grow Old.
Right.
Because it's just so stripped, and it's like the guitar's taking up a little bit of the mix, but then it's just this massive voice that's like all out there. There isn't anything to mask it, to cover it. You know what I'm saying?
I when it comes to songwriting, I really take to the I guess the Kurt Cobain way of going about things. If it's perfect, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
So so I want to hear the person come out, and nobody's the same. So the song that song really just it's my son that every day he'd come and tell me, Dad, when I get old, in French, obviously, because we're French.
And what's that? What is that in French?
Papa, quand je vais grandir.
Okay.
Ou papa, quand je vais être vieux. Stuff like that. You know, he'd say when I'd be old or when I grow up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, kids, they come up with ideas. He was going to be an astronaut. He was going to be a hockey player. He was going to be me for some reason, you know.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. But it's just they come up with these things, and I had this I had this insomnia that always plagued me. But you know, sometimes you do things to try to calm it down a bit. Alcohol, drugs, any way you can get the voices to just settle down a bit. And sometimes you fall asleep and wake up and there's lyrics in front of you, and it must have been just subconsciously there that he had hit me in some way. It's about him getting older. I hung out with, like, most of my friends at the time were in their 70s, old welders that I looked up to, that I wanted to be more like. And they were talking about the reverse, what they would have done differently, which
we had this talk at one point too. Remember, did they kind of relate to some of the stuff you were doing?
It completely influenced me into being a better dad, and to looking at time differently, right?
Yeah. It
makes you like, okay, that wasn't a 10-minute talk about Fortnite. That was 10 minutes I got to hang out with my kid. So I recruited two of my good friends for the video, Pat Laviolette and Larry Boisvenu, two welders that I respected very highly. I did the videos, you know, half for my kids to remember what Dad did, and the other half is if somebody sees it, makes them think of something, makes them feel something. That's pretty much what it's about.
It's a powerful song that I think didn't, and like a lot of songs that just don't see the light of day, like the real, you know, like you put it out, but it didn't get, you know, the exposure I think that song could have really used. You know?
I don't. I should promote more. I'm horrible at it. There's a lot of things I'm good at. There's a lot of things I'm bad at. Promoting, I tell people about it, and I share it on the very few social media platforms.
But that's what I respect about pieces like that, because they weren't for anything. They weren't to really reach any level of anything. It's a diary piece that is so. Mm-hmm. And then I remember you calling me saying, like, I got this Cornell style thing, and I just remember it being so, again, just the acoustic guitar and you and some of those lines and the way you sang them, just I remember just getting these, you know, these huge surges of just kind of wow just come over me. Like,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I was listening to the track this morning and I was like, it's just so powerful, and the voice like your voice is just this huge monster thing. And so I picked that track because I felt like, yeah, that was one of the best expressions of you. And but maybe we can switch over a little bit too to, like, just so we met during the Coldrift album, which was a totally different beast. There were six of you guys, or
five members at the time?
Five. Yeah. And as I was saying, like, those memories popped up on my phone. So it's almost 6 years ago today. You guys came in
for the third album. Yeah, that was 2018, I think.
Yeah. So I remember that being sort of where I saw this pressurized kind of version of you. You were trying to write all the songs for the album, do the aforementioned work that you do every day, and then you are a very good dad and family just oriented person. And, like, I just had so much respect for you kind of holding that all together, even though seams bust here and there, and we know where those were, like, and so can you talk, like, just a little bit about the experience of for you, like making that album?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was probably the highest stress point of my musical career, if you want to put it that way. We were off of two albums that we had done that were great albums. I should probably preface this by mentioning Marty Verville. He's my partner in crime. He's the first guy that kind of we started Coldrift together. There's no two ways about it. He inspired me immensely to be myself and to that it was okay to show people stuff. He was probably the first person I showed songs to.
Really?
Yeah. Marty was definitely the man. He was like he is my little brother.
Yeah.
I mean, he means a lot to me. Not only then, but now. He's a gem. He's such an amazing human being that I felt myself like it was okay to be myself and to show him whatever songs I had. So yeah, that really started Coldrift, and then after two albums, after the first album, there was some money come in from an investor / manager.
Yeah.
Brent was great to us, treated us like gold. Anything that he could do to aid not only financially but physically, he was always there.
Oh, I remember that. Just from my chunk of it.
He wanted he not only wanted but we wanted him to be as part of it as everybody else. He was the sixth member of the band.
He loved it.
He was all heart.
Yeah, it was great.
And so when it came to the third album, it like every other band, we've put so much into it. And you're hitting walls. You're hitting walls at every turn. So that's some stress there. I had songs that were, again, I wanted to be seen. I didn't want to be seen. I was putting out the 13 songs for the third album were songs that came in a month. I wrote 13 songs in a month.
I remember hearing about like our phone calls.
Yeah, that was a huge part of the stress. Not only that, I felt that I owed the band, I owed everybody. I owed Brent, I owed you, I owed that's on the music side.
Yeah.
And then I was doing 10 or 12 hour shifts, 6 days a week. And then I'm a dad, I'm a husband, have been since I said yes. So I don't always come through. I try to, but I don't always come through. But if I put my name down for something, you can guarantee I'll be 15 minutes early and I'll have all my gear.
1000%, dude.
So it was tough. It wasn't easy. But what made it easy was having my wife. She was there with the kids when I wasn't. And my kids are amazing. They were able to understand what I was striving for, and seeing me, I felt it was a lesson I had to show them, not teach them. You can't tell somebody, well, you can tell them all you want, but
they got to go through it.
Yeah, it doesn't really get you anywhere unless you see it.
Yeah.
When you're able to show them, it's like, well, there's no argument you can have.
Yeah.
See, I just did it.
Yeah.
So, and you're just as strong as I am, so you're going to do it too. Your
Yeah.
dreams are your dreams. Work has to be there. That's not a choice.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to work. Nobody wants to.
Yeah.
So we all get up, we put our socks on, pull our pants up, and we go to work.
Fucking get it done.
But they don't own the time that I'm not at work.
Yeah.
I own that. So I did my best to split it between the family and the band. It gave me a bleeding ulcer. And that's just from not taking care of myself. That was abuse of certain things, alcohol mostly, and feeling like I really had to do something. Something had to really push through. At the time, I didn't see it like I see it now. At the time, I really had to have a success. I was having success. I was doing stuff that I had never thought I could do. I was on radio stations. I was doing radio station interviews. We were playing opening for some very big bands, and getting some exposure in the States. It was slow going, but it was never fast enough for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it all kind of exploded.
Yeah.
We did about a year after that last album.
Yep.
And then medically, I had to
back away.
I had to call it. Medically and mentally, I wasn't there for anybody anymore, not even myself. So you give out, you know, you got all these buckets in front of you in life, and you got these pennies. So you got the family bucket, you put some in the family bucket. You got some at work, you put some in the work bucket. You got this opportunity with the band. Could be nothing, could be something. And you get caught throwing more and more pennies into it. All of a sudden you got no more pennies, and every bucket's asking for one. So
I gotta kick a few buckets to the curb, kind of thing.
You just have to prioritize. Dude, and so true, wake up, grow up. It's painful. You end up hating yourself some days, but you make some decisions. I, for myself, made the best decision. I decided to hang. Coldrift went for 12 years. You can't really. We did what we came out to do. We had a lot of fun.
Man, and dude, people need to hear this, because there's so many bands where they've gone through some similar situations, and you walk away from it feeling like a failure, and you walk away from it just feeling like it just took and took and took. But then when you do walk away, and you can look back and you go, wow, it did give. Yeah. It gave a lot.
I mean, it depends. It really depends how you look at the situation. I mean, I could look at it and say, oh, I didn't meet Slash. I didn't open for the band I wanted to open for. I didn't get to the stage I wanted to get to. But if you look at it the other way, you'll see that there was a lot more to be gained by looking at those small wins, except instead of the big wins. How many documentaries you watch of very, very successful people when it comes to fame and fortune, and they're left alone at the end with their fame and fortune.
So true. And this is such a huge point, because I think, like, for me, this podcast is about sending the message that you can have the art and treat it good, because it's giving you something. You will look back and say, wow, it was something special in the time, especially when you're chasing, when you're going for that thing. Like, nothing, you're right, nothing seems good enough. And I guess that's like when you're crawling through the barbed wire, you're doing that, say, like, relate it to military training. And that's when you're going for this high profile dream. And to also touch on another thing, there's bands that make it to that level, like to make it even to the level that where there are 5 people, an investor, everybody's like you guys were working like a machine.
Absolutely.
It was business.
Absolutely.
You know, the business side was fucking business. And that's what I had to be on point. I was called to be on point because of the vibe of the machine of Coldrift. So but to get, and I know a few other bands that I know a lot of bands that have gotten to a similar different looking version of what you guys had. And it's just crazy to even go there. That's a win to even get there.
Absolutely.
To where you could even think about, like, if the right thing, if stars had aligned. But the other thing is also mad respect, dude, for just you making the right choice for you. And I had to do the same thing. One of the hardest things I ever did was saying, I'm not going to be in a band anymore. I wanted it so bad.
It's rough.
There were things that I knew it wasn't cutting it on a few levels. And the universe was saying to me, like, it's not this, and it was hard. You remember that little booth behind there where we used to smoke?
Yes.
I spent so many, like, when I was sort of renovating this and moving into producing full time, like, I just go out there for these sob sessions and
Yeah.
break down in anger
Oh,
and
yeah.
kicking the fucking
Yeah,
door.
man.
And
Yeah, I was a good couple months and it was me. I walked away from the band. Everybody was shocked. Everybody was mad, and understandably, I couldn't apologize enough to the band members. I did it the wrong way. I walked in and I basically just said this was going to be the last rehearsal and walked away. I didn't do it the proper way, and for that I apologize to them. Which we're on good terms, I hope. Now I think we are.
I think so.
We've spoken since, and and everything is good. But Coldrift was my family, and I've always had trouble dealing with family. So it was the same with Coldrift. It was huge highs and great lows too. I mean, we made music videos that people that come from where we're from don't make, we got people to help us out in ways our community helped us out. A lot of our friends were there at a drop of a hat to help us out. So it wasn't just me, I had a lot of help along the way. And when it comes to the struggles, I mean, everybody's got the struggles. It depends how much you put in front of yourself. I put a lot in front of myself because I know I can take it. When we talked a while ago about I was in the booth and I'd let it all out.
yeah,
I don't have a gray area, dude. I have a white area and a black area. It's either I'm full in or I won't be talking about it.
100%, dude.
It's just, if I invest myself in something, I have so little of myself that I have to make sure that, okay, this is something I love, and they're not gonna get half of me. There is no half of me.
I just remember, like, kind of good segue into talking about some of the sessions too, like seeing you in there, especially vocally, like guitar, you were, same emotion, same everything. And we, the $100,000 worth of guitars that we had sitting on a different couch, but
that was
that. I was like, it was an energy because again, Brent was a collector. So
well, yeah, and if it wasn't for Brent, there's a lot of those songs wouldn't have been written. I wrote one of the songs I wrote on an ES 345. That was previously owned by Royalty. So it's there was 11 guitars that I had use of that played themselves almost
because of the energy of in the history oozing out, and I could feel it too. It was weird because I'm not a materialistic person when it comes to equipment, but you could smell the basement of where those guitars fucking resided.
Yeah, I think it's not the money. Like he would come in and Brent is a businessman.
Yeah.
Brent, when it came to money, he lit up.
Yeah.
Because he knew what he was talking about. He was sharp, he still is.
Yeah.
So he would tell me what these things were worth, and all I could think in my head was, okay, well, if I break it, I can never pay it. Can I just try it, please? I just want to try it. If I can hold it, maybe some of that stuff can leak into me, and I might have something there. But no, he was always. It wasn't just the guitars. He furnished. We were. There was a joke going around that we were the best paid garage band around.
I love that.
And at first I would take offense to it because I was like, man, we try. I told we had so many conversations that we're humble tradesmen and we have jobs, but this takes a lot of money to takes money to make money.
Takes a lot to grease these wheels.
Yeah,
for
so,
sure.
But no, from the get-go, he was all in. And he showed it with not only his investments, but he was here every session.
100%.
Just like every guy in the band. That's why.
But he also left you guys when you needed to be left. He wouldn't show.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of respect for that from him too. He would just be like, I want you. The cool thing about the Coldrift album was I dealt with when it came to so we did the pre-pro sessions, and it was all of us in the room with Brent. And we were trying different things for the songs, and it was all live off the floor. Mm-hmm. And Dan in the booth drumming. And then, but when it came time to recording the album, everybody came through separately.
Yeah.
So it was very like one-on-one, and that's where those are intimate recording sessions, like
100%. And I think it worked for the best, not only for you but for the guys as well. I know some guys are a little more reserved when I'm around. I tend to speak when I want to say something.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's best if I'm not around so that other people have a chance to talk.
Yeah.
But no, the sessions went well because it was, like you said, it was a machine. At that point, you mentioned Dan Gadboil on drums. He came from a metal background.
I remember that.
And discipline. The kid was disciplined.
He was.
I mean, he'd leave notes. He's a jerk. He'd leave notes on stage. Tune your fucking guitar after every fucking song.
I love that,
and
dude.
I'd say, listen, I'm trying to remember a lot. This is a lot for me. Keep in mind, I'm a plumber / welder, and I'm trying to look cool on stage here. At the same time, I got to remember this. But he brought a level of discipline. Everybody had their role.
100%.
I think it was. I would never compare ourselves to the Eagles, but if I can for a second, they all had a role in the band, and as did we. That
dynamic was very, and that's what I love about different bands. They're all just this different vehicle with different parts, and they operate differently. The computer's programmed totally different,
and we had different versions of Coldrift. I mean, it started as a 4-piece.
Okay, so the 4-piece was
was myself, Marty, Dan Gadbois, and the first one was Mark Burrow.
Okay, I didn't realize Dan was right from the day one.
Dan played live with us on everything.
Oh, okay.
Steph McAleer recorded the drum parts.
Okay.
I hadn't met Dan yet.
Okay.
So we got Steph McAleer from Cornwall to record the drum parts, which, hey, Steph, hope you're doing good. He's out in the East Coast. The guy came in. I would have literally tell the guy, listen, this song I'm feeling a little Sloan with the really crisp snare, and the guy 1-2 takes.
Yeah. Done.
Finished it.
Oh, I
Finished
love that.
it. So Mark Muir was producer on that one.
Yeah.
Mark's been like a brother to me.
And he produced the first 2 records, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And he was also a guitarist on the second album as well.
Cool.
So after the first album, he was a guitar teacher that I went to try to better my chops.
Oh, okay.
Showed him the songs. At the time, my father was quite sick.
Yeah.
He got cancer. Didn't last long. It was about a month. And my dad was kind of he had a twisted sense of humor. So the last couple of days he was around there, he said, if you don't do anything with your music there, I'm going to haunt you.
Dude.
I'm going to do something to you. And
that's awesome.
It was the type of jokes that we would throw back and forth. But just in case he would, I decided, you know what, I'm 29. It's just going to be for fun. Fun turned into my obsessive need to go a step further every time. And
when did that transition point happen between the fun, just I'm doing this for fun, Coldrift version 1.0 to something, this is kind of serious, and now you catch the disease, I call it, right? So at what point did that happen? Can you think of like a pivotal
I'd really
moment?
pin it to I'd probably pin it between 50-50 Marty and Mark. They were songs, dude. They were just thoughts. I put on a poem. I put on a paper. I tried to get an emotion out because I didn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
I'd write stuff.
Yeah.
Never thinking of a song. Marty and I would sit in my basement before I had kids. We would get plastered with 2 guitars with a Korg 4-track tape thing.
Yeah.
He was a technical guy.
He was.
Guitar.
I remember that about
I don't
Marty.
care
I
about
love
this
that
kind of
about
stuff.
Marty.
Listen,
Yeah.
I barely know the names of this stuff. I don't need to because I got people for
That's what
that.
I love about you too.
Yeah.
Man.
I'll do lyrics. I'll do the singing. I'll do everything else. I just don't want to
Yeah.
plug it in or nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he took care of the tapes. We had a little 4-track. We messed around with that.
Yeah.
One song turned into 15, turned into 30, and I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah.
It seemed like every time I woke up in the garage, there was a new song on the wall.
That's so fucking cool, man.
So yeah, it turned from that to a good friend of mine, Pat Laviolette, you know, helping out with the first album, pushing me, just talking to me every day, saying, listen, you can do this. Marty being open to listening to the song. Mark, when I went for lessons, just pushing me towards, listen, you can do something with this if you really want to. So the process was me and Marty at first. And then the drums, we put the drums on, hoping to find a drummer, hoping to find people, you know?
Yeah.
If we could play live.
Did those guys see what I saw? Like, and I don't want to, I know you're not an egotistical guy that goes around, but did they see what I saw with your level of what you put out there? Is that why do you think that's why they pushed you, like not pushed you, but said, hey man, you could do something with this because they saw something special?
So the first album I hired Steph. Well, we hired Steph. And we hired Mark to produce it.
Yeah.
And Mark played bass on it.
Okay.
Because we had no bass player. We had no drummer. It was me and Marty.
Yeah. And I can say from the producer's standpoint, that's what you do as a producer. You fill in where the band. So anyways, go on.
And we knew there was players in town. We just... we're
easier
lazy potheads, man.
Thing.
We weren't on the ball with notes and stuff. Yeah. What do you want to do today? Should we get a bass player? Yeah, we should get a bass player. So let's call some people, you know?
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it happened.
Yeah.
But then when we recorded the songs and hired Steph to do the drums, then there was a little bit more attention. Steph did a show with us, one show at the starting. And we had Mark Burrow play bass. From that point on, we started getting a little more attention.
Yeah.
We released the album. I think at that point we approached Dan Gadbois.
Okay.
To see if he was willing to take on. Dan was from a band called Fathom Ties.
Oh, I remember that band.
Dude, they were amazing.
I know. I remember hearing a lot about them.
Very heavy compared to what I listened to. So, but I had this thing in my head because there was other drummers that we had tried out, but I had this thing in my head. If I can get Danny to come down like a quarter, and I go up a quarter, and we meet almost in the middle, is gonna be some heavy rock.
That's fucking cool.
So but then like there was other aspects, you know, like we needed a bass player. Mark Bro played with us live for a bit, and then he went on to other things. So we recruited Ben Mullen,
who is a fantastic musician,
all around superstar.
That guy, Ben. If you're hearing this,
Benny,
he's such a talented guy.
It's not just a talent; he's just a gem. Everybody likes him.
And him and I have a mutual friend.
Oh, do you?
From Kingston. This my web dude, and just a longtime friend of mine. His name's Chris Clough, and we both know Clough.
Yeah,
so we're like, I can't believe
everybody knows Ben
because
he's in a band called Chesterfields right now, and they play regularly.
Yeah,
they're he came in and he just nailed it right away.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was a guitarist at the time.
Dude, when you see him play guitar too, you're like, what the fuck?
That was the mind-boggling thing. When I found out, I was like, you should have probably been playing guitar. I should have probably grabbed the bass.
But on bass, he was so fucking good too. That
pocket,
you're like,
in the pocket. Him and Dan would lock in very well.
So good.
I kind of over. We also had another bass player, Matt Vachon, that played with us.
Okay.
He helped us promote the first album quite a bit. And then this is the thing. It's that old thing that people have lives, man, and not everybody is willing to put or can put the amount of time that's needed. We played shows and killed shows, and they always wanted us. They always said we should have you guys as a headliner next time. We always opened for bands, and we would love to see the look on the band face when we would walk behind, because it'd be shit. We got to follow that.
Yeah,
because we'd rehearse 2-3 times a week.
You guys were honestly mechanical in the best ways. Like as far, like when I came out, So just from my perspective of coming into this record, I remember getting an email. We got an email from Brent. It was like, okay, we set up that meeting. You guys were visiting a few other studios, I think. That
Yeah,
day.
I think
Do you remember
myself
that?
and Brent came here
Right.
because we were going to Kingston to a bigger studio.
Yeah.
And luckily, we went to that meeting and it did not go well.
Yeah. Okay.
So we came here because it was a travel thing.
yeah.
Not one before the other. Just luckily it happened that way. And
Yeah.
Brent was in a way. And when Brent's in a way, he's a bull in a china shop. He ain't standing and nobody's going to stand in his way. So he came in here and you kind of right away, your vibe kind of like, whoa, it mellowed him right out. He enjoyed the vibe. He enjoyed that it wasn't huge. We weren't going to get lost in the mix.
He knew that he wasn't going to get like boxed out
That's
because
the
of like
thing.
the vibe. It was like, hey dude, I'm just a guy in my house making music.
Yeah. And we were just guys in Marty's garage making music.
So that,
it fit.
And I
fit
just
very
remember
well.
being like, I know what these guys want to do. And then, so we had our meeting, and then I remember taking my first drive. Was it Marty's place you guys jammed at?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that was the
So
compound.
I remember taking
yeah.
driving out to Marty's place. We did our,
Absolutely.
I can't remember if that was that before the big pre-pro sessions or
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I drove out there and I remember setting up some stuff and we captured we worked on tempos of the tracks and we looked at some stuff. And that's when I remember just being like, okay, this is wired. Everybody's dialed in. Every single person was looking at their component very closely.
Yes, but again, the live, that was, I really have to tip my hat to Dan Gadbois. He really he had us on point. He had us on time. If somebody was off, he had no problem telling
And
them
that's what I saw
right
in the
away.
rehearsals, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
Even though it was
he
for the album, you could see why your band was so good live.
Yeah, and it was a thing that there was no mercy to each other at times.
Yeah.
And it was for the best.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we were a family. We always we got together, we drank, we had fun, we partied. When it came time to really lock down, like we did, all the music videos that we did were self-made. I mean, there was a guy pointing the camera, but everything else was us. We built a boxing ring in a fab shop.
That's so cool, man.
I got my employer at the time at La Framboise to let me they let us use the Bolger's shop that was empty. We built a boxing ring in there.
That's insane.
I
Thirst to
enlisted,
win, right?
I
That video?
enlisted Tony Lewis and Joe Bowman. Hey guys, I enlisted those two guys to pretend beat the shit out of each other.
But they were actual,
but
legit
they were
fighters, right?
absolutely. I'm sorry, I don't know the rankings that they were in, but they were very high ranked boxers. I mean, we were trying to give authenticity to it.
Yeah.
At the same time, Tony and Joe are both hometown guys. I was always big on, this is where we're from. We're not going to pretend we're from Ottawa or Montreal. We're from Cornwall.
Yeah.
Let's do it from Cornwall
Blue
stuff.
collar vibe.
The last album was called Home.
Yeah.
All the pictures in the album
We're
are
from
all
Cornwall.
from Cornwall.
That's so fucking
or the
cool.
very surroundings or spots that Cornwall people know about, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But that's why we put the lyrics in the third album as well, so that there was something of that old 70s vibe, because we went so newer with the sound.
Yeah.
We jumped forward from the second album. Second album was very
Dude, that was a classic
Eagles
album.
It was made for instruments.
Like, it was made
and
like a
vocals
classic
and-
album.
Yeah.
I remember
yeah.
listening to it and I go like, this isn't really what I do. But then you guys said, no, we want to bring it forward a bit more modern.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what I'm like, well, I can do that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I can build in a little bit of,
No, the second album was recorded in a mansion built in the 1800s.
that's so cool.
3-story staircase.
Why didn't I get called for that fucking
Yeah,
record?
yeah, yeah. Mark produced that
No, I
album,
know, yeah,
and
but go on,
I gotta say that there was, even though there was no expenses, we didn't hold back on expenses at all. But it was recorded with the purest, most analog way to record.
Yeah.
If we could have gone reel to reel, we would have.
Yeah.
The mics that we used were 70s mics that were rented. They were era mics. Everything
Mark played into that.
Tip my hat to Mark. He knew what he was doing. He shared the vision with the band, and
the album had a theme of that, the way those albums were
absolutely
made.
Although I mean, I couldn't write anything else at the time. I was going through a lot of family stuff, and you know, you can tell what I was going through. There's a song called "Love to Hate" on the album. I was lucky enough to work with a lady called Kim Richardson.
Okay.
She's a vocal phenom from Montreal area. Sorry, Kim, if I don't have the right area, but the song is about family. Sometimes you love them, you love to hate them, and sometimes you hate to love them. And
that's huge.
It was emotional for me. It ripped my core, that song. I have no problem saying that when I'm in the booth, to give the best performance, you have to give yourself. So like, I've cried in the booth. I've punched stuff in the booth. I've passed out in the booth. When I explained to her the story, I told her I don't want to put a guitar. I always put a guitar solo, man. I'm a sucker for a guitar solo, but it's not always needed.
Yeah.
So a little bit of growth on not only my part, but I think the band's part. We had this Pink Floyd vibe in the song, so I asked her to do a vocal solo on it, and bone chilling. She came out, and we had a very emotional moment together. And that, I think there's so much emotion on that album that I put out that there was no thought about, is it heavy enough? Is it modern enough? I didn't think about what it was. It was what it was. The last song on the album, Good Morning Sun, Mark has some gems hidden in there that only we know about.
Yeah.
You know, like at one point he has our kids speaking in the background.
Yeah.
I know where it is. And that's just, like you said, it's, maybe nobody's going to download it. Maybe nobody's going to hear about it.
But those are the coolest things about albums. And I kind of went, like, personally through a phase of not focusing on those things for an album, but then really realizing, no, it's about those things that only belong to that album. And even if they are like highly perceivable elements or
Absolutely.
not. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, you know, I always get asked the same question, which one of the 3 albums do you like the most? I said, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
No.
You can't do that.
No.
Because you're trying to, we do compare people, but you can't compare people. We've all have different backgrounds, all have different
that's an evolution.
Energies, you know?
That's a unified brick. That's an evolution. And
12
it's like,
years, man.
It's one album in a sense.
Yeah.
It's a long record.
I really get we knew that this was not going to be the next best thing.
Yeah.
The next biggest thing. We really did push, like we tried to make it the next best thing, but we kind of understood our spot, especially after the first or second try, you know?
Yeah.
But leaving something behind, not only for my kids, but the random guy that's going to go through Spotify and be on his last leg with his wife, and he hears From a Stone. You can't wring blood from a stone, when the guy's given everything to his job, everything to his wife, everything to his kids, and then he gets told at every turn that, hey, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. You can't get blood from a stone. So that song just came out of me, you know? And it's that second album, I think, I really hope, and I get a kick when people tell me that it connected with them. The guy that just broke up with his woman and found out some pretty nasty stuff, he says that song Goodbye, you know, it stopped me from doing some stupid stuff. I cared a bit about the money before,
there.
but
man,
like,
how much
way
is that
more
right there?
Oh, I'll never remember the money I made. I'll always remember that guy's face, you know what I'm saying? So it's music's always been more heart, and listen, I could have made a lot of money walking away from music many times in my other career with the UA, with the union. There's plenty of times I got offers that, you know, would have been more lucrative.
100%, dude.
No, my band's going to make it.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because my band's going to make it.
Of course.
And that's the reaction I get. And I'm cool with that because that's the reaction I get now. But at the time, that reaction would have been like, you can laugh if you want.
Yeah.
But they told me not to, and I did it.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude I always had.
Dude, I love that.
Tell me I can't do it. It's
Dude.
just going to make me want to do it more.
I grew, like, as I mentioned on the last episode too, and I've told you, like, I have a construction background.
Yeah.
I worked for my dad's company for 12 years around people that told me daily that the things I was trying to do when I was going to play shows were not possible. They were dreams that I couldn't have.
Yeah.
And they were trying to beat the fuck out of me every day.
I think, you know what, bro? I think it's not that they tried to beat the fuck out of you. I think they see a limit where you didn't.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
didn't see a limit. I said, yeah, okay, that's because you're looking there,
100%.
man. I'm looking way above that.
Yeah.
But that's you're putting a ceiling to what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
Also,
that's their ceiling, not yours. And I agree. That's the better
you're making
way to look at it.
success
Yeah.
into something.
Yeah.
Success isn't something.
That's how I felt as a kid, anyways. Not now. What you said is the right way to look at it. When I was a kid, angst-full punk, it was you're trying to fucking, beat me down. And
how much money did we make on this show?
100%. Yeah.
How many people were at the show?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
If there were 10 people and one of them
If
got
I
it,
wanted to make money,
That's all
I'll
that
keep
matters.
doing this job. This isn't about
if it
money.
was about money, I'd have gotten my license a long time ago.
Dude.
Okay, I took a long time to get licensed. I took a long time in that career because I put so many pennies into the other bucket.
Yeah.
And I don't regret it one bit. I showed my kids that if they want to do something, it's not about money. Success is what you want it to be. To me, success, I mean, I wanted to be married. I got married, and luckily, it doesn't work out for everybody, and it's nobody's fault sometimes. But me, hey, it worked out. I work hard at it. It ain't easy.
No,
I think I actually texted you today. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It always is.
Yeah.
And if it's not, that's when the problem is, right?
That's so true.
Not only with the wife, with work, with everything else.
Because if there's no more fight, then somebody's given up.
And when
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think but then again, there's some times that it's organic. It just happens. I mean, with the band, I don't know. I've lost a lot of sleep, not knowing where it went wrong and wondering. But now I'm beyond that. I'm just happy for the times
Nothing
we had.
went wrong. That's the actual thing about it. Nothing went wrong.
It just it ran its course, and the benefits of it are now I'm seeing more, like you said, when you're in it, you're in the shitstorm. It's just a storm that you see, right? But when you pass it and you look back a little bit, I did some stuff that I never thought when I brought those first 4 songs to Mark in 2010. I never thought that I would put out a record. I put 3 out. When we went and we tried to get on the radio, I never thought I'd get radio play. We got some radio play in Canada, man. Not only US, but Canada. 2 weeks ago, I was driving to work on an early shift. Before the Bob and Tom show, one of our tunes came on.
Really?
It's one of those things that I'll get
They're
a message.
Still spinning it.
I'll get some random messages, and it's not often.
Yeah.
But I'll get some random messages from friends or from fans. Hey, I just heard your song. I miss you guys. When are you guys coming back?
Man,
And it's a double-edged sword, brother.
It is.
It is, because there's no way I could go back. I think back to doing 10 hours of grinding on pipe and go home, take a quick shower, have supper quickly, watch Cars or Finding Dory or something, put the kids to bed, rush to the studio.
Yeah.
And do what I can
and
there.
grind that out
till about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then go home. It was fueled by things that I can't do anymore. It was fueled by a different guy. It's just you get to a point where you realize, okay, I did that, and that's cool. It must compare to the same guy that's running all the time. He runs marathons, run marathons. You get after 40 there, you can do it,
but
it's the payoff. You gotta look at the payoff. Now I'm like, my son just started playing guitar and taking lessons, and it's the age-old thing that I'm taking a lot more joy in that.
It's kind of a supernatural energy, and this is why you and I connect so well, because we have a lot of parallels, as different as we are, where there's a lot of parallels we connected on. And like, I can think back to a few specific points where I was very manic. Like, I would go on these 3-month, and way too much money got spent on equipment. Like, I was just, everybody's like, man, slow down. And like, I look back to that person, I see this frothing at the mouth for something because I was hurt.
Yeah.
And this was this supernatural fucking energy. And that's what I saw in you too. It's like, and all these bad things come with it. All this fucking, right?
Man, I treated people absolutely horribly. And it doesn't matter. Like I said before, it doesn't matter how many times you apologize. When you've cut somebody, the scar's there. It'll always scar up.
For sure.
So, so yeah, you make mistakes. You try to apologize for it. Nobody's perfect. You just try to be better than the
whether
version
they
of
accept
yesterday.
it or not, because I've had my own fair share of those apologies to give, and the people that are watching, if they know who they are, and I've given them, and some of them, even if they don't accept it, how much does it feel to just own up to what you went through?
It's releasing, right?
It is.
I'm not going to hold this bag. I'm handing it to you.
Yeah.
If you accept it, the bag goes away.
Yeah.
If you want to hold on to the bag, you be pissed for the rest of your life.
Dude, that is such a great analogy.
I can't hold it anymore. I got enough bags to hold. I'm going to hand this one to you.
And in that bag is where I went
apology,
wrong.
my love, my understanding,
my accountability.
Yeah. But like, I'm just learning that I'm 43 and I'm just starting probably in the last couple of years to realize it and try to apply it. There's plenty of times that I treat people like absolute garbage and I don't want to. It's because I'm going through something. You think about it afterwards, and then it's too late to say sorry to that, I don't know, the barista that you got the coffee from, whatever your situation is. But no, with to relate it back to the band, we had too many good times for that ending to be the end of it. You know what I mean?
Dude.
I talked to Dan 2 weeks ago.
That's great.
We're talking about careers more than music. But
that's awesome. That's life.
I went to see Marty at his place, and he came to my place. I just got a new car to work on, and he wanted to see it. He came to see the kids. I mean, he's godfather to my kids, for fuck's sake. So they'll always be family. Ben, I see him a little less because he's in Kempville, but we try to have the Catalina wine mixer once a summer. Just get together and have just the two families and have our, just a meal and sit down
see that,
and reminisce. He's got a gorgeous place.
Man, I can just see you guys in the energy, and I think this is important for people to hear because this is such a painful marriage-like process that bands go through.
Listen, I just brought my son on Wednesday to go to his first guitar lesson. His guitar lesson is with Mark Muir.
Oh, crazy.
And Mark Muir was the guy that started me.
That's so
cool.
Like,
to not get emotional was impossible, brother. I get in there, and Mark was such a big part of the last 15 years of my life that I wouldn't have brought the kid to anybody else. I don't trust anybody else, and it's not on them, it's on me. I got the trust issues. But I knew what was going to happen to the kid. I know how Mark treats people. I know Mark is you and Mark are very much alike.
Okay.
On a vibe level, on an understanding, wanting to almost curious about people and wanting to know what makes them tick and how to benefit or aid that person in whatever way. So yeah, Mark, he has his studio, Mark Muir Manor. It's almost, I don't know the word really, it comes full circle. And me and Mark were at each other's throats at one point.
Oh yeah, of course.
When the second album released, again, it seemed like every time we released an album, there was extreme highs, and then it was such a cliff to fall down from.
Oh, dude.
But you bounce back if you're mature enough to understand that the relationship is worth more than being right. And the people only have what they think is best, the best interest that they think, they're not trying to do it because they want to be right, or they really do believe that they are right.
And this is where this whole marriage analogy, which every band's heard, but it's important for them to hear this story, because what happens often with bands is they do scatter, and it's such a painful experience that people are hurt, they leave hurt, and they don't talk. And it takes them years, or it takes them years to come back. And I think we need to shift it to, there is going to be that natural period because things get so heated that things need to cool down. But it's good to just everybody to kind of look back and be like, we all got together and flew that plane. Getting it off the fucking ground is
insane.
Insane.
It's insane.
It is. And it's
insane.
like, I've done it as a musician. I've had the beautiful pleasure of seeing it and facilitating it through bands like yourself. Like, we just had, and I just remember the energy with you specifically. Like, we would finish a session, which, by the way, were like so intimate. Again, I saw you cry in the booth. I saw you get so angry. I saw you project so much vocal power that you rattled the entire area. It's a small booth, but you literally fucking shook the walls.
Well, I work in a fab shop. You got to get the guy back there to pass us some earplugs. He's got to hear you.
And we were out in the wood stove room, and we would have some talks. How did you described our talk? Sometime we were driving along a coast. I don't know. I remember we were doing the pre-talk, and you said our talks are like when we're driving along a coast or something. Does that ring a bell? Like, it just
not too much, but I mean, when we talk, it's this kind of trip that you take. You go through highs, lows. You talk about everything, but you don't see time go by.
That's what I feel about where we would go after sessions. Is I got to know this person, like, wow, I get to experience their art. I get to experience, and I get to kind of work. It's, again, every producer has a different vibe. I find mine came from obviously knowing how to make stuff sound good, but having just an awareness of energy and seeing, hey, is everything cool? Oh no, actually not. Well, let's get that out first,
But at the same time, it's knowing. I think I had two producers. I had you and Mark.
Yeah.
You both had your ways to get what you needed out of me.
Yeah.
I knew Mark as a friend a little more before the second album. So, and I mean, we were close to home. So we would spend sometimes 15 hours.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And then I'd go home, make sure everything was okay. We'd go back to his place, another 15 hours solid.
Yeah.
I'm talking cases of beer. I'm talking, Marty, you take this. You go in the boot. I go in the boot. You go back and forth.
Yeah.
He was a workhorse.
Yeah.
But he was a friend as well. So the amount of times I heard, another take, do it again, do it again, do it again. And with him, I felt a little bit of, I was able to push, hey, shut up.
Yeah.
I ain't fucking doing it again.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
It was my first album.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do it. I had anger issues.
Yeah.
And I didn't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what he was going at. I felt challenged almost. I had to be alpha. So it was like, no, hey, I'm telling you it's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even really want to be singer.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be singer.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. You want to be the guitarist.
Well, I was guitarist. Marty was guitarist. So we were looking for a singer.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
We couldn't find a singer.
Fuck. I forgot about that aspect.
Couldn't find a singer at all. So the first album, we're recording the drums at Mark's place in his living room. Hardwood floors, tall ceilings. Sounded great. The drums are all done. Steph had to leave. He was in a rush to get back to his job. His wife, I'm not sure. So he takes off. We are pie-eyed in every way possible. Yeah. And Mark's slick.
Yeah.
So the mics are hanging over the drums, and the drums are gone now because Steph left. He says, for the song Let's Go, which is the second song on the first album, he says, the chorus, if we need a singer, we need to show him what you want there. Because I wrote all the lyrics. So I figured I would tell the guy what he should sing and he should sing it. Because I was shy, man. I didn't want to sing.
Yeah.
I
Which
could barely,
to me now, thinking
I
of
could
that,
barely
like, wow, it's
be
crazy.
on stage with a guitar. I'd puke thinking of it.
Yeah.
So, but I was trying to push myself, and I had young kids. I wanted to show them, if you have a dream, you go for it, full out. So he says, go to the mics and give me what you're thinking for the chorus. So I go to the mic and I belt out the chorus to Let's Go. I have a beer bottle in my hand, a joint in the other. I'm doing the best I can here.
Yeah.
He hit record without me knowing.
Okay.
About 20
Great
minutes
move.
later,
Great move.
he says, well, we got the scratches down with the drums. You want to hear just a little snippet? And he presses the button. And I was confused. So what the fuck? He had recorded me. Then I heard my voice. Then there's like, well, you can't deny it. Now you know what you sound like. You know you sound good. Now you have to do it.
Dude, that's...
And that's
I gotta give
vaguely
huge props to
pretty much
Mark.
how.
That's a massive power producer thing right there. That unlocked a fucking band.
Whether it was a conscious thing that he did or it was an accident, there was so many happy accidents and so many happy conscious slick moves on his part that that one there was a clencher.
Yeah.
That was what really solidified. Okay, we're gonna make the band. We have a singer.
Yep.
Then I had to learn to play and sing at the same time, which Mark helped me with that too.
Yeah.
Because he's a phenomenal teacher. We had other guys try out for the band that really helped kind of mold us too.
Yeah.
We had our buddy Johnny, Silver Bullet Johnny, that came in, and he was not very confident, but I mean, Let's Go was supposed to be a very upbeat song. He came in with this beautiful Zeppelin, like, and killed it. So that changed that whole song. So when I say that, there were a lot of band members that were band members, and there were a lot of band members that weren't.
And they infuse in your DNA.
They touched me in some way, some part of my soul they touched in some way, and it formed what Coldrift eventually became. I mean, for the second album, we wanted keys, we wanted piano keys in there. We recruited, we got Eric Sauvé.
Okay.
Eric Sauvé is, I don't know if I'm okay to say, world-renowned pianist. He plays with Rock Voisin.
Credit where credit's due.
He's the guy who's giving you the tunes at the Sens games.
That's insane. I remember you
he's
telling
an
me
amazing guy. He came in, and again, we gave him just specks of information, and he came in and just gave us this Billy Powell kind of thing from Skinner, just this beautiful Southern rock kind of feel that he gave to Grass Ain't Greener, to all the other songs I can't think of on that album. No, he really, all those little steps, all those people. Kim Richardson came in and gave us the backup vocals. Grass Ain't Greener. It sounds like we have like 5 or 6 backup vocalists on there. It's Kim.
That's insane.
It's Kim doing Kim.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what they had done previously, but when I met somebody and they were like, if I saw that they had 100 like me, we're each putting 100 in it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're in.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I love
if
that.
I saw it was 75, 50, my interest really, it lacked, because I just don't have time for this, guys. I really don't. Even though I was using 23 hours out of every day.
You have time for 100 and nothing else.
That's it. Because how can it go with 75? It just won't. It probably won't go with 100.
Yeah.
But how's it going to go with 75? So, and there were other people that helped us, sell merch. Go to shows. Camille Lapointe, Blake Sampson. They were there to hand us, you know, to restring guitars, Matt LeVake, all you guys. I love you guys
So
from
many
the bottom of my
people to
heart
come
because
in
you
and
guys
make-
were so huge in helping me. You
So
know,
many people that come in along the journey of a band to, you know, propel it. Like that don't get, you know, you can find them in the album credits but it's just crazy what it takes.
But
crazy
they were
what it takes.
such a bigger part than just a name and a goddamn credit. Like they were
100%.
huge. And our friend Josh, he came in on the third album. He performed the second album with us. We met him at a show. He was playing with an Eric Clapton cover band. Brent saw him. We all fell in love with him right away. Yo, you wanna come in on this? So for the third album, you remember Josh?
He was insanely good.
Well, that's probably one of the best musicians I've ever met in my life. He
100%.
spoke a different language.
He did.
Because it was, I can't read music. I don't know any of that. So him and Ben, that's what I mean. Everybody brought something to the team, right? So him and Ben would lock in and they would talk about B7,
The harmony,
diminished,
the actual theory
whatever
behind the
fuck
harmony.
it is.
And
I have
yeah.
no interest in it.
Yeah.
And I get borderline angry because it's so complicated to me. It's so weird to
Yeah.
me. So I would be, okay, you guys talk about that there. We'll be over here.
Yeah.
And then when you figure out what you got to do, I'll look at your hand and I'll figure it out
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I wouldn't be able to relate or to understand.
And for them, that's an important conversation because with the keys, you have access to like a lot of tone colors at once.
They wrote parts that weren't in the songs that after being written, transformed the song.
100%.
There's interludes in the third album. And
I loved those, by the way.
well, those, Brent,
Yeah.
10 songs is not enough.
Yeah.
You just killed yourself for 10 songs. I need another 3. And
Yeah.
I love him for it.
Yeah.
I love him for it.
Yeah.
So I was sick as a dog. It was like I was off for holidays, December. And I was in the living room with the orange amp. The kid was watching something on TV.
Yeah.
Put your earplugs in, kids.
Yeah.
So I turned it up. I clicked on as many pedals as I could,
Yeah.
and I went on a trip. And
I love that.
there was one that was very mellow. I forget. There was one that was basically I had done a substance, and I had dreamt something bad very bad had happened, and it didn't happen.
Okay.
I was sitting in my chair in my garage the whole time. I thought I was on a motorcycle and I was being chased by the cops and everything. So
That's fucking crazy.
is it Steadfast or
Oh shit.
yeah,
Dude,
so
I loved that.
so that's basically I thought I was being chased, and again trying to escape the physical pain of my day job, the mental strain of not being the dad I wanted to be, or the husband I wanted to be, and feeling like I was letting the band down. I wrote 13 songs in a month. I'm like, man, I really should have written 14.
Yeah.
It was never enough. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of that, but I'm learning to kind of to notice it and to kind of, all right, let's be happy about all these other things that you did right instead of the being pissed about the
Dude,
one thing you did wrong.
That's kind of one of the main pillars of starting this podcast for me, because I know a lot of musicians that did get to the level they were striving for, and I also was one of them at one time, and I just feel like it's important for people to really step back, and you have to be like, you went after something that a lot of people don't have the guts to do. Everyone should just say, you know what, I want to try to do that.
Whatever level
it is.
If it's for you, if it's recording on at first we were recording on on a tape.
Yeah.
I'm talking 2010 and we were recording on a tape
100%.
because that's what we had.
Yeah.
On a little mic that came out the side there, and ideas, the releasing them, putting them out in the world, even if nobody hears them. Sometimes it'll get an idea out of your head. It'll get a feeling, whether it's a positive or negative feeling, off your shoulders. You're handing the bag over.
One of my favorite like vocal performances, other than the track we played in the beginning, Your Rhythm.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you remember that like Zeppelin thing?
Yeah.
That just went, and you're like, I can't do that live because it was one of the most insane,
Yeah.
if not the most insane vocal performance I ever recorded was that moment.
Wow.
And I remember comping, and I remember hearing that and going like, I'm digging that up after they're gone. And it was the top of your seat. Like it was,
Absolute.
it was the, you
Absolute.
poked your head up through the ceiling actually and looked at what was outside.
So that's the song I passed out on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the one that it's not only the top range, it's the most air I've ever, because it takes so much air to get there, because I'm not one to hit a note, I get to the note. If you listen to my vocal performances, rarely do I hit that note right away.
Yeah.
I've always had blues stuck in the back of my ear, so I usually swell up to a note.
Climb up a bit.
Yeah, I swell up to a note. I rarely hit a note.
Yeah.
And in that song, I had it in the back of my head that I wanted to put a bit of Zeppelin spin on it, because all the other songs on this album were wasted, heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, compared to what we're used to playing.
Yeah.
Compared to the second album.
Right.
I kind of wanted a little bit of a correlation there. And that's why we put Move In on there as well.
Oh, yeah.
A little more mellow, a little more, drivable music that I call it. You're going on a little spin, little trip with the wife or something.
Yep, 100%.
You put some tunes on, some you see seagull go by, that type of thing, you know, the beach.
1,000%.
You need to break up the tension. The even upbeat music is tension all the time.
100%.
You need to bring those BPMs down sometimes.
Did we cut out? Do you need to get a charger? Just get it. How long do we have?
Like 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if we want to go longer? Okay. We cut that out, obviously. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Anyways, technical.
So like it's like going on a nice trip. You're clearing your head, and it's bringing the BPMs down. It's really relaxing, where the other music has got you going. Your heart rate's up, and it's really that release. Really, that eventually you need to digest what you just heard.
Yeah.
And to digest what you just heard, you need to bring your heartbeat down a bit.
Oh, 100%. I remember that track was some of that supernatural energy that I was referring to, and I was just like, I've recorded a lot of great artists as well, and not too many into the caliber I would say you were at, like as a performer and what you laid out there, but
Appreciate that.
really. But this performance was like, I was like, not often do I get to capture something I feel is like truly magical, and that comes from that 100. It's you again. I said you were one of the people that gets in the booth and, figuratively speaking, strips down naked.
Oh yeah, I'll pass out.
You'll cry.
Not to be dramatic about it, but I'll die in there.
Yeah, I know.
If that's what it takes to give that song its proper respect and proper due, that's what the song is asking. That's what the song should get.
Yeah, 100%.
I've really tried to not dictate where a song's gonna go.
Yeah.
The song tells me where it wants to go.
Yeah.
Your Rhythm was written, and the vocals were fairly straightforward. Every time I sang, it got more complicated, a little more plant into it every single time.
But that piece too was like an off the cuff thing that you just started
100%.
to fucking go off in there.
Yeah, and it was, again, to your kudos to you, because you allowed me. I felt comfortable enough to go there. I said,
That
okay,
means a
well,
lot, man.
he's
Thanks.
gonna ask me for another take. I'm going to try to give him a take that he's not going to ask for another goddamn take. You know,
Yeah,
you
oh,
know
yeah.
what I'm
Oh,
saying though?
fucking right,
Because you
dude.
get
I
in there
love it.
and there's love, but then there's that touch of frustration. Like, man, that was a good take.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me to do it again?
Yeah.
Again. Okay, well, this one here, you're going to take a second before you ask me to do it again.
Yeah.
And that's what I had in my mind. I have to get angry sometimes. It's weird.
Yeah.
I have to get angry to really get the best out of myself sometimes.
100%.
Sometimes getting angry gets in the way. So it's life. It's that fine line of finding where to use it.
Sometimes that angers there's forms of fuel that I refer to different artists. Like sometimes that's the dirty fuel, but sometimes it's got the most burn to it off the
Absolutely.
get-go. But I always tell artists, like, if they're running on the dirty stuff too much, like because the other guy in the band's always maybe critiquing them too much, and it's becoming like they're using that as fuel. But if like that's the fuel that runs too long, then the engine's gonna gum
Takes
up.
over.
So I always say to artists, you also need to find some clean fuel, like, which is, what is the core? Is it just to prove that person wrong now, or no, now it's time you get back to the core of how this engine was built and what other types of things it can run off of.
Man, it's exactly like a relationship.
Yeah,
Everybody has a relationship or has been in a relationship.
100%, dude.
And it's the exact same thing as being in a band. The only shitty part about being in a band is that you have decided to do it 5 times.
Yeah.
So now you got 5 wives.
Yeah.
Or 4 wives or 3 wives, whatever.
Which is even
or
more
husbands.
insane.
I'm not trying to get into a gender thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
you've got 3, 4 other people that you have to take into account their opinion.
Yeah.
You have to take into account their abilities.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And they have to take into account yours.
Yeah.
If the only way something's going to work is if you're able to see your faults as much as their faults.
100%.
It's just the way it goes. And typically that's where that negative beast that you're talking about, it'll take over. It'll just it's a cancer that'll just take over the entire band. I've been the cause of it at times. I've been the recipient of it at times.
And the healer probably at times.
And I'm sure the healer at times. But when it comes to it, for that to be a deterrent for somebody not to do something is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you've ever felt love with another person, you know that just because you got broken up with, or just because you gotten dumped, or just because you got yelled at or whatever, that's not going to deter you from going to somebody else and feeling it. Maybe for a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll be stung.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
You're that doesn't mean you're not going to go somewhere else and try. So after a full year and a half of feeling sorry for myself and crying my face off because I didn't have my band, and I wasn't in a band anymore. I didn't have, who was I? Great, now I can die. I don't have a band. It was very dramatic, and it took a snap. I had to snap out of it. I can't tell you exactly what it was. I'm sure it was a conversation with my 16-year-old daughter. She's like she's smart, but pretends not to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's so smart that she'll make you believe that she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Oh, okay.
So probably a conversation with her that made me realize that, suck it up, Nancy.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Yeah.
You've felt bad for yourself. Now maybe it's time to pick up your pants and try something else.
Yeah. Well, and on that note too, you got into writing a sitcom that you're working on.
Yeah, it's written. It's out there. Now it's just getting it out there and getting it. Somebody's got to pick it up. That's all it is.
And I'm not going to say too much about what it's about, but it's based on, I'll just say, personal experience.
Yeah. I don't. There's yeah. We should probably keep it at that. For now.
I would. Yeah.
But yeah, it's something new. I don't mind. I like challenging myself. Even this podcast, dude. This is the first time I do anything like this, and it's something I wanted to do because I guess now the new challenge is proving that I can still do. Doesn't matter your age, you can still try new things that you've never tried before. So
this podcast is also kind of meant to, because I feel like this surge of creators I'm bringing on were all from a period of my life before everything broke down for me, like during COVID, and everything stopped. So this insane momentum I had built for years to become a producer that was busy just stopped. And then it's this, after the whole dust yourself off, I got to stop crying about what it did to the business, and I got into something new. But now I'm like, I want to kind of crack open some of these diaries of because that time in my life, and you being one of the bigger albums, it was a full album, so it was a very like big intimate process. You and I developed a very like tight-knit relationship during this process, and after, we stayed friends, man. Like you're I can say, even though we don't talk a lot, I consider you a very close friend.
Absolutely. I'm not one to call for no reason. I'm not one with anybody. So I know a lot of people, and I consider most of them my friends. But you and I have always had we talked about this when I first got here. Seems like once a year or once every second year, around the same period of time, we get together. I was telling you, Ben Mullen, once a year in the summertime, the families get together.
Yep.
It seems like there's like this revolving door of friends that they have their times. But I think I go I go deep with people. Like I just do. So that connection, I make sure it doesn't go anywhere. 100%. So when I talk to you, I want to know how you're doing, and I think that people, when I speak to them, they feel like I'm listening. I care, 100%. And I really do care. I'm not trying to be a tree hugger.
Well, we don't have any time.
You know
we don't have, because we have so little time in our lives now. Like, that's the thing, and I think we're both at that stage in our lives where if I'm calling you, like, it's I'm taking time, and I'm gonna put time into it. I'm not gonna be on my fucking phone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be spending, like, if it's even my best friend who wouldn't give a fuck if I was on my phone, I'm, for the most part, my phone's down, and we only get maybe once a month, and
exactly,
or once every few months, or for us, it's like once a year, which is funny because, again, last night when I was doing the pod notes, all that 6 years ago this time of year, we were making the Coldrift album. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that was 6 fucking years ago.
I know. It's so the fun about me being at the age I'm at now. I was the oldest guy in the band.
Yeah,
I had 2 young kids when we were doing it, and I know Ben had kids as well. So he may have been able to relate at that time to what I was going through. But I had a little get together with Marty the other day.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's got 2 little guys of his own now.
Man, Marty's I do love Marty.
And
We've already shouted him, but again,
he's such a sick dad too. Like, he's like the dad, you know.
That's
like,
great, man.
He's typical, like, t-shirt that says dad #1 on it. That he deserves it. And now I see him with the 2 little ones there, and we get together, and my time is limited too as well now. So we get together for an hour, 2 hours, and then it's kind of like, okay, we'll part ways.
Yep.
I think back, and like, we'd do 8 to 10 hour sessions of hanging out, and sometimes nobody's saying anything for a good hour.
Well, and this is something I think I want to conjure from this point too, is that we're so used to that being our relationship with, like, our music people we have a music relationship with, that life after band and life after project is that, and it's, sometimes I think people think it's weird to only be, it's only an hour, but no, it's like, think of that connection and those 8 hour, 10 hour, 16 hour sessions. Like, you couldn't possibly download or upload any more to that person. They're a part of you. So you don't, it's funny because now, even with, and I have this from, like, kind of sort of, I used to have this, like, anxiety when people would leave. Like, I'd have friends over and I could see myself getting kind of like weird about them going. And I think that comes from being a kid and my dad being at work a lot. So never really being able to get as much time as I wanted with him, and because he was working his ass off for us to support us. And So I think it came from that, people leaving. And then now I'm just like, yep, an hour, we're good. Like,
Yeah.
is that it? Is that the fucking, okay, there's the file transfer, we're done,
Yeah, and it's a different time of your life.
Yeah.
Really. It's back in the day I had more time. I was able to have these long sessions. You didn't have kids to get back to. You didn't have this to get back to.
Yeah.
Also, I wasn't 43 years old. I'm tired now.
Yeah.
I'm tired most of the time. I just want to go home, relax,
Yeah.
play a little guitar, hang
Yeah.
out with my dog Frank, and
Yeah.
maybe play a game or two with the kids and call it a night. It's not.
100%, dude.
I get invited to go see shows sometimes, and that's when I feel 43. Is when I get that request. Hey, you want to go see a show? What time is that?
Yeah. 100%.
Because if it's past 11, I'm
Dude.
probably going to be passed out on the table before it starts.
Dude, I'm in the Rapper. It's me and one of my buddies, Ted. Shout out to you, Teddy. But like we call it the Rapper. It's like I'm in the Rapper by 8 o'clock, especially winter. Just here we go.
And
yeah.
it's and doing the job. I'm still in the trade. It's not getting easier.
Dude, that's a long
It's-
fucking day.
We're doing 510s right now, and shout out to the guys at OPG, and yeah, I mean I'm working with a great crew at for my trade as a fitter right now.
Yep.
And it's solid 10 hours a day for 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's getting any easier, but still do music. I'm still gonna do some studio stuff on the side.
Oh,
and
for sure, dude.
enjoy myself. You know, use
Well,
it
I
as a
hope
hobby.
Through
more.
this episode, just some people go check out some of your music. There's Coldrift is the band, and then JF
Beaulieu.
Beaulieu.
Yeah,
I almost got it there.
You're close.
Oh, shit.
It's really
something wants to twist when I fucking do that. though.
Yeah,
It's like-
100%. Usually it's the tongue for the French, but you
it
go
is.
with
That's
the
what it
full
is.
body.
That's what
eh?
I felt kind of like. I did it because I'm good with hearing sounds and replicating it, but then my tongue just went like that.
Yeah,
So it's like-
it's the last name is just a bunch of vowels they threw
Yeah.
together.
Well, I'm gonna wrap this one because I think
Yeah.
we're gonna just need to do another one at some point because this
Absolutely.
was such a huge. Like, I just feel like we could go for 4 hours, and I know that we're hitting our sort of limit. So, dude, honestly, and it's funny too because some of the ways I know there's some more caverns we can go down with some of this stuff, so we'll do that. But I'm glad that what came to the surface for me today was just some of the really important points that I think our experiences. Collectively, yours individually, mine individually, and then our merger of experiences and how they came together. I feel like there's just some stuff that a lot of people could resonate with, and
Absolutely.
that is good for people to hear. That not just the stories of the people who had all the stars lined, because there's a lot of success in just doing what you did. And
Yeah.
and I,
it's-
hats off to you, man.
Thank you.
And I just really saw just one of the most hardworking, determined, emotionally like out there people that I worked with, just with a great talent. And
Appreciate that
and
very
to hear
much.
like, it's just even Trevor, shout out to
Trevor.
drum tech.
Yeah.
I remember, and he was around for the pre-pro, just hearing, he just looked at me when you would sing lines and he'd just be like, yeah, this guy's got it. And I'd be like, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know. I'm
Making
making
me
you blush.
blush.
But I know.
Appreciate it. Thank
you. So again, thanks for making the drive out,
Oh,
man.
man,
That's
anytime,
huge. Yeah,
brother.
honestly, dude,
Anytime.
fucking
Yeah.
seriously huge.
Anytime.
And shout out to my brother, Joe at River Sound, for doing all the filming.
Joey!
I know I've made this way harder for him in the editing phase, but it's time to level up, my brother. So all right, thanks guys for checking this one out, and we'll see you for episode 3.
Peace.